welcome back, folks, to Barbarossa to Berlin, part 2.1. So this is the second part of turn 2. I have the camera mounted on the game shelf that is beside my gaming table, because mounting it to the gaming table is not high enough to see the whole board. Putting it back on the tripod does not work properly either. So I am definitely showing my noob streaming skills here for folks. So all these videos are just tests, and I go back and I review it and see, you know, how I did, see if I said things that I shouldn't have said, maybe, things like that. You know, I try to make sure that it's family friendly and clean. So anyway, I have it going today. Yeah, I'm going to be able to have my little thumb brace on. With the garage closed, so you can't hear any of the outdoor sounds. So where we left off was the Germans' turn, action 3. I do not have a super great hand for the Germans. I could go ahead and attack Leningrad, which only allows me to attack Leningrad, but I only have 2 infantry armies in place to do so. The Russians probably, you know, obviously know what's coming. I kind of need to get, I also need to be thinking about replacements too. Because, you know, Germany played that one Panzer refit card, which was necessary, but I also have 2 infantry armies that are down right now, as well as some corps. And then there's of course there's the weakened army here, and then the ones defending in France. So I probably need to save Fall Blah for reinforcements, to be honest. I don't want to play Nordlicht yet, but I do need to attack. I do need to get some action going here. So I think I'm going to take Ops, and I'm going to play Devil's Gardens for the 2, oh wait, this got to rotate it this way, 2 actions. And now that you can kind of see the board, you can see where stuff is up here, which is why I need to find some way to bring that down here for solo purposes. So the Germans get 2 actions. One of them I'm pretty sure is going to be a combat action. I think I want the infantry armies to attack the Russians in Novgorod, because I need to push them out so that I'm there, and then I need to move the 2 Panzer armies up. Now that does threaten, which by the way, I do need to put some supply line stuff here to at least show that my German armies moving in the north have a line of supply back toward the German lines. Oh wait, that's a combat token. That's the wrong thing. Well, I could do a combat token on the Russians at Veliki Luki. Attack them. If I push them back, I get to advance 3 spaces. The infantry could hit this and push them back. So I could advance 1, 2, 3. So I could take the space after I push them back. but then I could pop back up here. But the German rolls have not been very favorable. The Germans have already taken way too many losses that should not have occurred. Like, I should be deep inside parts of Russia. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't be deep. It's only summer 41. So maybe it's not that bad. I don't know. I wish I could bring up some reserves, but I'm not. So I'm going to attack. They're going to do a combat action against the Soviet forces here. I know I think I know what I want to do. I think I want an arm camera like I have, but it's only got two arms to it, two sections to the arm. The way it's designed, it's got a joint in the middle. The table connection is down here, and then the arm moves like this, you know. But I think what I need one that has three joints in it, maybe even 4. But I also want I want it to be able to be over the board, but I don't want it stationary either. I want to be able to move it. I want to bring the camera to focus in on the board where I'm at, and then bring the camera back up to where it's above the board, you know, where you can see the entire game board. And then, like, if I'm doing something down here in Africa, I can swivel it down and then bring it back up. So I'm going to look for something like that. That's probably going to cost more than me giving up a kidney, so we'll have to see. But anyway, so German attack on Novgorod against the Russian Steppe Army, and then another German armored attack against the Voronezh front at Veliki Luki. I'm going to initiate the combat from the German 16th and 18th Army in the north first, so that I can push them out of the way so that I can occupy this space here, which I don't think you can actually ever put Leningrad out. Plus, I think the rules in the game say that a fortress can never be out of supply. I'll have to check and see on the fortress rules on that, because of course the Russians were never actually cut off in Leningrad. So even if I manage to make it up here to the swamp, they're not going to be cut off because they're a fortress. And the Russians actually during the wintertime were able to bring supplies across the ice of the lake that froze over. Anyway, so they're going to attack. This is a 10 combat versus a 3. They are in a forest, which I believe shifts. Maybe it doesn't. No, it does not. I feel like forests should shift. I've heard rumor, somebody mentioned something on the GMT website, Facebook page, that Barbarossa Berlin was receiving a redesign. Not sure if that's true. I don't know if anybody's confirmed that. But that would actually be kind of nice, because I feel like there's some issues. I feel like that, for one, I feel like there should be more entrenchments. This game doesn't have as many trench 1 and 2 tokens, because the armies, the warfare was more mobile, so they tended to not rely on defensive positions as much. But I would argue that, because if you have studied the German defenses at Kustrin, at least that's what's here on the map. It was their line along whatever the river it was before the Russians crossed to Berlin. Had it not been for the fact that there was like 5 billion Russians attacking with 10 million tanks and 20 million artillery pieces, not literally, those German lines probably would have held, and it pretty much was very reminiscent of World War I. So I think the game should have trenches. I think there should be more trenches, because the whole point of playing a war game, reenacting a war, is there's changes. So why couldn't World War II have gone to trench warfare? Anyway, also I feel like defending in forests should shift for your defensive capability. I see deserts not shifting because there's nothing to defend in the desert on the charts here, but I do feel like forests should add something. But anyway, so the Germans are going to attack. They do not have a combat card worth that does anything. The Russians do. They have the Zhukov combat card. So, depending on the roll, here we go, baby. Germans rolled a 6. That's not good for the Russians. The Russians got a 5 though. So here on the chart, see, this is where I wish I could just pull it down and zoom in here. So the Russians have 3 combat power. They rolled a 5, which is a 4 damage. 3 damage. Excuse me, 3 damage. Oh, doing 4 damage does me no good because there's nothing there to soak the damage. So playing this combat card isn't going to do me a darn bit of good. Okay, so the Russians are going to inflict 3 damage. The Germans are attacking as a 10. There is no combat shift, so they are in the 9 to 10 column, 9 to 11 column, excuse me. They rolled a 6. They're inflicting 6 damage on the Russian forces. So I am going to let the 16th Army take 3 points of damage. The Russians are going to take 3. They then have to flip to take the other 3, so that they're taking 6 damage. So the Germans have knocked out 3 Russian armies now. That replaces it with a corps. They're losing by 3 combat factors, so they have to retreat at least 2 spaces. They cannot end up back next to where they were retreating from. So I'm going to pull back into the mountains here, and I guess I'm going to pull back toward Kalinin, northwest of Moscow, because I want to try to keep Moscow covered. The Russians before have almost lost. Alright, so I'm going to advance both of them. Now here's the really important combat for me to truly pull off the Leningrad attack. So here we go. This is a 10 on 3. Not as bloody. So the Russians roll 3, which is a 1. Even playing the Zhukov card gives them just up to a 2 damage. They can't even damage the Germans. So the German Panzer forces roll a 3. They're inflicting 4. So the Russians take 3 damage. They don't have to absorb the other one. They lose by 2 again. So I'm going to fall back on Rezev and then Vyazma maybe. Or do I want to... I can't retreat here, I don't think, because I don't remember if it says 2 from where they were, or if I can still, or not 2, but like, if it says it can't end up next to where you were. So I'm thinking that I could go here into the mountain and hold that defensible terrain. So the Panzers are going to go here for their 1 advance, and then 2... Oh, I have to halt the advance in a swamp. Oh, don't I? Shoot! Okay, never mind. So we're not going to advance into that space. And then we're just gonna... Well... So 1, 2... And I could actually threaten Moscow instead of attacking Leningrad. Do I have to halt my advance in the forest as well? Yeah, I do. There's no way I can get them back. Oh, do I have to advance into the space that I was attacking? Is the question. Oh. Man, where's my phone? Sorry, I just said something. You have a messenger. Okay. So advance after combat. That's what we need to know. If I have to advance into that space, or if I can choose to just take my advance northward, because that does screw me up. And I misplayed that combat completely because that is not what I wanted. Okay, so I have the option to advance. So advance, okay. Any remaining may advance if the defender retreats. The defender length of it, if the defending units are limited. Non-mechanized must halt in the defender's space, while mechanized units may advance up to 3 spaces. If all defending must stop their advance when in. Oh gosh! Length of the defender may ignore the defender's path of retreat and advance into any spaces they normally could. They are not required to advance into the space vacated by the defender. Boom shakalaka. I will advance to Luga and occupy the swamps outside Leningrad in preparation for the assault. Here we go. Wow. Okay. So the screen times out after a while. Okay. All right. So that ends the German action. So now the Allies' turn. Operation Uranus. Is that going to get me any good taking 5 actions and attacking, or do I just need to rebuild, because I get 5. If I play this as a replacement card, I can get 5 replacements, and I have lost a good bit of troops. Oh, I kind of want to attack. Like, I can almost advance out of Russia against the Romanians here and threaten the oil fields in Bucharest and force the Germans to have to protect the oil fields. And they're not really advancing against me at any vital points. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm not going to... The Russians are going to play Operation Uranus for 5 actions. Okay, and it's got the star by it, so that means it's gone. So I will not have access to that. I can play one of these other cards to get replacements. So the Russians are gonna take it to the Germans. So army group, not army group, but the Southern Army is gonna advance. The Stalingrad front, along with the Corps, are going to attack the Romanians, and that could end up being when Zhukov finally comes into play. I think I do want to get the Caucasus front up here. They need to be up front. So that's 3 actions. Could I retake Minsk? I could possibly retake Minsk, so I'm going to attack Minsk. And then last but not least, I think I'm going to move up this corps protecting Dniprovitsk. 1, 2, 3 to Kiev. I wish there was a rule in the game that said that if you begin your move outside of enemy area that you like get extra move, because I could in theory go one, like say their move double because there's no contact, but I guess that's what a strategic move is for. I could go 1 2 3 4 5 and then here and 6 so I could, nope, that brings me in contact. So yeah, I don't know, I guess protecting Kiev is the smart move here. Putting somebody in Kiev just to kind of defend things. So it says you have to take your movement steps first. Okay, so the Russian Caucasus Army is going to move 1 2 3 to Stalino. I'm going to move the corps up 1 2 3 to Kiev. Okay. The third action is going to be for the Russian South Army. They're going to advance 1 into Yasi. Two, 3. That would give me a control marker. Let's do that. So I'm going to advance 1 2 3. So I put a control marker in Chernovice. Oh wait, that's still a Russian. That's a Russian city. Never mind. I already still control it because there's no markers there. I don't think the Germans kicked me out of that yet. Okay, so and then here the Russian Stalingrad Army and the 11th Army group, or the 11th Corps. I'm going to call them by what they are. I don't care what the Russians call them. That might confuse some folks, but I don't think it will. I think people know what the heck I'm doing. Alright, so this is going to be an interesting fight because it's pretty much a 3-on-3 and then a 2-on-1. So I'm going to swing, bada swing. Oh wait, swamp. Ooh, that's gonna shift it. Yuck. All right, so this is a 2-on-3 fight then. Oh, the Russians got the better roll though. They've already executed that, so that's done. Because the Allies already attacked the Germans. Alright, so the Russian army is attacking on a 2, rolling a 5, they get 2. This is going to be where Zhukov is going to come into play. Nope, over here. Have I played? No, okay. Zhukov is going to give them a +1, which will bump them to a 6, which gives them 3 damage. Okay. The Romanian corps roll a 1. They're only inflicting 1 point of damage. Okay. Now, so what is it? 1 versus 3 so far. All right. Now the corps. There's 2 versus 1. And again, I think the Zhukov dice roll modifier applies in the combat. Oh, it's defensive fire. Or defensive fire. Never mind. Alright, I read it wrong. DRM for Soviet offensive or defensive fire. Alright, so 2-1. Even fight. Rolls there. So the 2. He rolled a 2, but he gets +1 from Zhukov, so that's 1. And then the Romanians do nothing. So, what did I say it was? It was 1-3, so it's 1-4. So the Romanian army is going to lose 4 points. The Russians are going to lose 1. They're going to lose 1 point on their corps. The Romanians are going to lose 4 points. So if they lose 1, 2, and then 3, 4. And I'm not sure if you have to lose LCUs before you lose SCUs, the cores. I'll have to double check. I'm not going to take the time to look that up. I think I'm playing that right, because that would make sense. Is the cores can absorb, you can kind of sacrifice them. So they're losing it by 3, so they have to retreat at least 2. That stinks. So they're going to have to fall back on Bucharest, and then here, and then the Russians are going to advance into that space. They were a mechanized army. They could take Bucharest, and the fat lady would sing, "Yes, dear." What's up? Everybody say hi to Peyton. Peyton, say hi to everybody. Can I help you, dear?
Mommy's asleep
She's asleep.
on the couch.
Why am I not surprised? All right, Germans. Did you find your tablet?
No.
All right, do I want to play Nordlick, or do I need to get... Oh, I feel like I got to get somebody down there, because I'm going to lose the oil fields. Ay, 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 ay. So if I bring the German and the Hungarian, so the Hungarians can go 1, 2, 3. They can't even get there. The Hungarian corps can go 1, 2. The Romanian army, so that's 2 actions. Bring these guys. So I can't bring all of them. Ay, 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 ay. Can the Germans even get there? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Man. Alright, so I'm going to have at least 3 actions. So I wanted to save it for replacements for the 4, but I think I'm going to have to play Fall Blau as an ops card. So I'm going to take 5 actions. I have to save the Romanians Heine. So 1 action, 2 actions, three actions, oh, I missed a combat. I missed a combat. Alright, sorry folks. Pause. The Russians get to attack the Germans in Minsk. Oops. Alright, 6 on 5. Ooh, that's gonna go to the Russians. So they rolled a 3, they're inflicting 4. The Germans are only inflicting 2. That's nothing. So the German Panzer Army is going to take damage. They're going to flip. The stand fast is gone because I'm forced to retreat. I think I'm going to retreat back to Barnavici. So I'm going to lose a victory point because the Russians are going to retake Minsk. And I am going to advance both those armies in. Man, the German invasion is not going the way the Germans wanted it. Alright, now, pause is over. Now we're back to where we were. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Because they're going to shift. So I want to put the 17th Army. Alright, so this is going to be a very delicate thing. Alright, so the Romanian and Army and Corps are going to advance into the cap. Actually, no, I can't. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. They're going to advance into the capital. I'm activating here in Belgrade the German Infantry Corps. I'm going to leave the Hungarians behind, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and advance into the capital. Because I have to protect the oil. Because if I lose the Romanian oil supply, then I lose a card per turn. My hand size goes down. Okay, now the German 1st Panzer Army is going to go 1, 2, and 3 to here. Since I've uncovered the space I was in, I will put a control marker there. I'm going to push the 17th Army down here as well. Okay. And then the German 1st Army and the 1st Infantry Corps are going to advance into Kovel. Okay. So the Russians can advance on Lvov. I believe back then it was called Lvov. But it's not going to do them a whole lot of good. But now I'm threatening the Russians' northern flank. Okay, that's me. Alright, oh wait. Alright, the Allies. British reinforcements can't be played until the US buildup has been played. So the only thing I can do is play this for either it's ops, or I could play it for Russian replacements, Soviet replacements. I think I'm going to play it for the 4 value there, which will be, and I'll show you how that works. So this is the first time, so the Russians are going to get reinforcements. So their card is being played as a SU reinforcement. Per nation, only one of these can be played per turn. Okay, so the Russians will get 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll show you how replacements work, reinforcements work, whenever that starts. Okay. Now back to the Germans. Their final action. I can either go ahead and assault Leningrad, or I could get some Panzer Corps, but they only go in the reserve box. So that does me no good right now whatsoever. I think I'm going to assault Leningrad. So I'm going to play Nordlicht. Okay. So 3 actions, but I can only attack Leningrad. So the way I read that, the way I understand that, is I can only attack Leningrad. So I have two actions. What do you mean my battery's running low? Oh, it wasn't plugged in all the way. No wonder, you gooberhead. Okay, so if I understand that card correctly, I get the 2 attacks on Leningrad. That's all my attacks. But I do have a third action because the card is a yellow and it provides me a third action. So I'm going to take that third action and I am going to move I think this nice juicy little reserve force that's been sitting here in Vienna is going to commit to the battle. So they are going to move out. So I can move the Panzer Corps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and join up. I can join up here. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can't get to there. Or I could just keep them together almost like they're an entire army force. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. They can join the 11th Army in Colonia. Alright? No. Shoot. I can't go straight across. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, even better. I can join up with the troops in Slovakia. Okay. So that gets me moving toward the front. Alright, now here we go. Here we go. The assault on Leningrad. The Germans are attacking with 18 points versus 3 for the Russians. Probably should have put one of them reinforcement armies up in Leningrad, like in the city, because that could have been a mistake. Alright, so we are attacking a fort. So there's special rules for a fort. Oh, it provides limited supply to units in the fort space. I'm going to have to check and see what that means. Okay. Fort. Attacker shifts 1 to the left. Why do I feel like that is way worse? Why is that not that good? Oh, I think whenever I assaulted Leningrad before in a previous game, we were past the point to where the Russians could build trenches, and I had begun to build entrenchments up there, which makes it even worse. Yeah. Alright, so it's only going to shift at 1. So the German are 15 plus columns. They're going to shift to the 12, 14 column. And the Russians are only on the 3 columns. So this is going to be absolutely brutal. Alright, so the Germans are rolling a 4. They're inflicting 5 damage, which does not destroy them. The Russians are inflicting 3 damage, so they damage somebody. I'm going to let the infantry armies absorb the damage. So they lose, what did I say? I rolled a 4, so they're losing 5 damage. So they lose 3. There's only 2 remaining. Nothing happens. I think in a fort you can choose to not retreat and not have to take damage like you do in Paths of Glory. I think in Paths of Glory you have the option to take a damage and not retreat from a fort. Defending units in trenches, forests, mountain, blah, 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 may choose to ignore a retreat by taking 1 additional step loss. But there's nowhere to retreat to. Oh, yeah, I can. I can retreat across the river. One additional, I can't regardless of number. Oh. What should Soviets do. Should I take the loss and hold Leningrad and make them not get the victory point? Or should I keep the army intact and retreat across the lake? I feel like I don't want the Germans to hold it yet, so I'm going to take the loss, which knocks me down, and I will replace it with the core. So I still hold Leningrad. Alright. Okay. Alright, so that is that. So that was their action, which was an event. The Allies have one last action left. Okay, here's where we're on the learning curve here. So the Allies played a combat card, which takes away from the ability to play cards from their hand. So they have one less card. So I could play this last card and not have cards in hand and do like some ops, or I could take reinforce, but I've already played reinforce, so I can't do that. I want to keep this card because this is what allows me to play my tank cores in 4 turns, which they're not much, but when you stack at least 3 of them together, they pack a punch. I don't want to lose that card. So if you look on the board here, we can't play partisans yet because the partisan event has not popped. If I understand the way partisans are, you can't play that until the partisans event has been played. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can point that out to me later on. I'm not going to play a replacement or a strategic move, so I can take one option, which is a 1 ops. So I'm going to take a 1 ops. One, two, three. A 1 ops. So the Russian South Army is going to get hit in Yasi. That's obvious. The army corps that went into Kiev could go 1, 2, 3 and give them some extra absorption factor. I could move the Caucasus army up 1, 2, 3 so that they're closer. I feel like I want to bring these guys down to be able to absorb some of the damage, because I know there's assault coming as soon as the German player is ready. So yeah, that's my 1 ops. So that ends the turn. The Russians are going to keep the 1 card in hand. You're allowed to keep 1 card, except on turn 1. On turn 1, you can keep your entire hand if you want. The Germans, they can't play anymore because they played six actions. Okay, so they can't play this card. So they can keep it, or they could choose to discard it. I think I will keep it because I want to get the extra replacements going into my replacements box. Because from the box is where when your armies lose, that's where you replace the troops from when they downgrade to a corps. And if you ain't got nobody over there, then the army is eliminated completely, and they do not go into the lost box, the eliminated box here. They're actually removed from the game because the army's kind of like the 6th Army was completely destroyed at Stalingrad. It's what it represents. You're just kaput. So I'm going to keep that. All right, now, what are we here? 44 minutes to take 4 actions. Or no, it was 3 more actions. All right. So nothing there. Attrition, supply. They have limited supply, so I believe limited supply just means that I'm fine. They cost 1 ops extra to activate. That's it. Okay, so if I did anything, so they're fine. They're still in supply. Um, oh, I've been doing these wrong. All these Russian guys. Oh, I've been doing this wrong. Okay. So these were all eliminated. No, they weren't all. I think I lost 2 this turn. And then 2 last turn. If I remember. So that means in 3 turns, so 1, 2, 3. So in the winter of 42, these guys are going to shift to here where I can build them. Or is it 3 turns earlier? Nope, so it'd be 1, 2, 3. So at the end of the 3rd turn, they're going to shift to here where I can build them. Okay, that's how this works. Control spaces, everything's still, oh wait, the Germans, they had control of that space. And just realized that Lvov is also under my control. And that's it. I've not been able to push that deep, except for what's going on in Leningrad. There's no beachheads. All right, replacement. So the Allies do their replacement first. The only ones that got replacements are the Russians. So the Russians get 4 points. So the only ones that you can replace from your box are the ones that are in it. Okay, so the Russians currently don't have anybody over here. They can replace the little cores. So the way the core replacement works is it's a half point. So the weak side is half, and then the full strength, if you bring it back full strength, is 1 point. Okay, but I probably want to build some strength back up on the board before I do that. So LCUs cost 1 point per side. So I'm going to spend 1 point and flip that unit. Okay. Everybody else that's on the board is full strength. So that's 1. So I'm going to flip this core and this core. That's 2 points. I'm going to flip this core. It's 2.5 points. And then I'm going to bring this core back at a half point strength. And I'm going to put him there. So I have 1 point left, which I'm going to then burn on this core. You know, I'm not worried about them too much. I do want to hold the line up here. So we're going to put them there. So that's the 4 Soviet points. Nobody else has any, okay? Discard anything you don't want to use. And then you draw. You check for victory. There is no victory currently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more cards for the Germans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards for the Russians. Not the Russians, the Allies. So Casablanca, Stavka, a combat card for defending Soviets, more Soviet reinforcements, okay. Combat card, ooh, this allows the play of the Siberians, okay. So this might be a good turn for the Russians. The Germans get Panzer Army Africa appears in Tripoli. You remove the 1 supplied Panzer Corps in Libya, Egypt to the reserve box. So this entire corps will go away and I get Panzer Army Africa in its place. So I could maybe begin counterattacking the British. Hitler declares war. U.S. enters the war. I don't know. I don't control Kiev, and Odessa at the time, so I wouldn't be able to get these extra armies. That is okay. Panzer Group Guderian may not be played after Hitler takes command, so Hitler has not taken command yet, so that's a pretty good card. And the Italian Naval Sortie. Axis units may trace full supply across strategic lines to Tripoli, Tunis this turn. May place one combat or move marker. So that might actually be pretty good in conjunction with the German Panzer Army Africa. I have to remember that I believe that they are considered to be in limited supply down here when they're doing stuff, and represents the Allied blockade. Okay, so that is the end of turn 2 officially. We are going to be going to the fall of 41. Soviet player may now build level 1 trenches in urban spaces. Urban spaces. Okay, well that's the ones with the factories. I don't like that. But anyway. And I believe that is it. So that'll end the turn. Thank you, folks. At the end of summer 41, it's actually looking pretty good for the Russians. They're still holding on to Leningrad by the skin of their teeth. They have a defensive position set up protecting the northwest of Moscow. They've actually pushed the Germans back out of Minsk. So their lines are stable. I'm still in good position here. I've pushed into Romania, threatening the Romanian oil fields, forcing the Germans to have to react to that. So that's pretty good. The Allies, the British have pushed the Germans away from Hellfire Pass to reestablish full supply with Tobruk. So I think it's early in the war, and things are actually looking pretty good for the Allies at the moment. So anyway, all right, have a good one.